It's that time of the year again. The huge Essen Spiel game fair is upon us. So as is custom, here's my list of games that will be at the exhibition and that I'm looking forward to. Instead of linking each game to the publisher's website, I've added links to the relevant page on the Board Game Geek website, from which you should be able to get to the publisher's website with ease, as well as find out more information about the game itself. I've also added links to my reviews of the games where applicable, so you can see what I think about them. Just check out the links in the description of this podcast. I use the Tabletop Together tool to find and prioritize games, and I highly recommend you check out this amazing and free tool too. The games are mostly in alphabetical order, but also group them by publisher to make it a bit easier to find them at the exhibition. So here goes! Assembly plus expansions and Sensor Ghost by Wren Games. I understand that Janice Turner and the crew of Wren Games will not be at Essen Spiel, but as of writing this article they were still listed, so I wanted to mention them here, because these are really great games. If you like solo or two-player cooperative puzzles set in space, then all of these will make you very happy indeed. So check out the review of Assembly, check out the Assembly glitches and Assembly resequence and override expansions. I've got an unboxing video and review for resequence and override. And also check out my review for Sensor Ghost and the unboxing video for that too. Ecos First Continent by AEG. In the competitive Ecos First Continent, you slowly build up a small continent from hex tiles and seed it with fauna and flora, but beware because prey animals will be hunting and eat what they can. You might intentionally put a shark in the waters to eat another player's animals and score yourself some juicy points. Jetpack Dora by Lucky Duck Games. Jetpack Dora is a real-time game that is an app conversion. I backed it on Kickstarter and can't wait to play it. Everyone is frantically grabbing polynomial tiles and lay them onto their personal game board in the shape of a horizontally scrolling scene to form a continuous path that avoids obstacles and covers coins to make the most points. Mega City Oceania by Hub Games. Think of a dexterity game where you stack different shapes onto a hex tile to create something that resembles a building. Then push the result carefully into the center of the table to add to an ever-growing island of hexes. If your building doesn't topple, you get points, but if you place your hex carefully, you get bonus points. That is Mega City Oceania. On the Underground, London Berlin by Ludi Creations. On the Underground, London Berlin is a game that I mainly backed on Kickstarter for the Berlin map, but the gameplay is very puzzly and will fit my games night group, and also be fun for my wife and I to play. You need to create underground routes that give people the shortest route between two destinations, which change every round. Don't build yourself into a corner. Pipeline by Capstone Games. In Pipeline you have an economic simulation where you buy crude oil, refine it, and then sell it for profit. That in itself is nothing new, but imagine a mini-game inside the game. You need to build a refinery with very long pipes to refine your crude oil to the highest quality, which gives you the best return. The refinery consists of square tiles with pipes coming from the center of each edge, then either going straight through or creating a bend. So you have to place these tiles together to create a spaghetti junction of pipes, which will do your head in. Rome by Red Raven Games. I know everyone is keenly awaiting Sleeping Gods, but I'm looking forward to Rome first. It's a light game where you have a group of adventurers which basically represent polynomial shapes, and you use those shapes to cover up sections on a map. All players do the same, and who owns the most area in the various sections on the map gets points. As you place your shapes, you also get coins that allow you to buy new adventurers or new shapes. Every player's shapes are oriented in the way they face the central map, and nobody can rotate shapes, making this a whole lot of fun. Silver by Bezier Games. I've now played Silver a lot on the app, but only against the AI. I really want to try playing it with real people and in a 3 or 4 player setup. I normally don't like memory elements in games, but there is really something that works here. There's also a small amount of player interaction, which I think is just right. So if you imagine everyone playing the children's game Memory, but everyone has their own game and it's only 5 cards, and instead of removing a pair of cards, you replace the pair with a single card. And you can also replace 3, 4, even 5 cards that are the same. And you can even replace a single card with another from the deck, and, well, there's a lot here, so check it out. A small game with a lot of punch for sure. Tapestry by Stonemaier Games. I've now played Tapestry once with our neighbour, and even though we might have made a couple of rules mistakes, we could see how much we're going to love playing this game. The components are high quality, even though there are a handful of gripes, and the rulebook isn't brilliant. Once you get over that though, you have a game which is basically a point salad, where you can gain victory points in so many different ways, each of which can affect each other. There are a lot of mechanisms taken from other Stonemaier games, but put together they create something new that at the same time feels familiar. Definitely can't wait to play it again. The Mind Extreme by Nürnberger Spielkartenverlag. As many of you will know, I really love The Mind and have infected many other people with the bug. It's such a simple premise but creates so much tension, laughter and general fun. In The Mind Extreme, you not only try and play cards in ascending order, but now you have a second stack of cards where you're trying to play cards in descending order. I can only imagine how crazy it's going to get, so do check it out. Volleyball High by Medieval Lords. Okay, so this one is just about fun. In Volleyball High you play a game of volleyball, no surprise there. It's a competitive 2-player card game which should be a good laugh. I can't wait to find out how well the feeling of a real volleyball game comes across as you play it. Honorable mentions. Here are some games that I've my eye on, but that aren't quite so close to my heart, so instead of going into too much detail, here's just a bullet point list for you to scan and maybe check out for yourself. A War Whispers by Starling Games, Barrage by Crania Creations, Bus by Capstone Games, Chicago 1875 City of the Big Shoulders by Quinnet Games, Chocolate Factory by Alicat Games, Deep Blue by Days of Wonder, Lovelace and Babbage by Artana, War Chest Nobility by AEG. Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games blog review. There's also a written version of it on my blog, links in the description of this podcast. There you'll also find links to my Ko-fi and Patreon pages if you want to support me financially. Other than that, please also like this podcast and subscribe to it. Leave some stars if you're an Apple Podcast. Everything would be really welcome. And review it if you can as well. Other than that, tell your friends about it. And generally, I hope you join me again for another episode of Tabletop Games Blog Review. Thanks for listening and bye. This podcast was made possible by my Patreon supporters, David Miller of Subquad Publishing, James Naylor of Naylor Games, Paul Grogan of Gaming Rules, Robin Kay of Ruined Sky Games, Sarah Reed of Undine Studios, Tim Vernick, and Richard Simpson of We're Not Wizards.